Every story has two sides, the one that you're told and the one that's hidden. Welcome to Twisted Storytimes.
Natalie once believed being desired by two men made her feel more powerful. But late at night, when she sat in her bedroom, scrolling social media, peering into the lives of the two men that she had deeply fallen in love with while carrying twin boys by those two different married fathers, she realized something painful. Attention can feel like love when you're emotionally starving. And by the time the fantasy faded, she was left alone, watching two men return to the families she was never truly a part of. Natalie's confession, the cost of desire, pregnant by two married men. Natalie didn't become the other woman overnight. It happened slowly, one bad decision at a time, one lonely night at a time, one moment of wanting to feel wanted too far. If you looked at Natalie from the outside, you would have thought she had it together. Pretty, smart, well-spoken. But underneath all of that was a woman starving for validation. And validation was expensive. Xavier came first. 42, tailored suits, quiet money. The kind of man who smelled expensive before he even spoke it. Natalie met him at a lounge downtown after work. He noticed everything about her immediately. "You have tired eyes," he said softly. That caught her off guard, because nobody had ever looked at her long enough to notice she was struggling. Xavier wasn't loud. With his affection, he was intentional. Flowers at work, cash just because, reservations under fake names. And Natalie, she fell hard. Not just for him, but for how he made her feel chosen. The problem came in because Xavier was married. Very married. A wife with 3 kids. Family photos all over his office and social media. But every time Natalie tried pulling away, he would whisper things like, "You don't understand my marriage." And she wanted to believe him so bad. So she did. Then came Andre. And Andre was dangerous in a completely different way. 34, smooth talker, perfect smile. The type of man who made every woman in the room feel seen. Unlike Xavier, Andre was loud and with desire. Passionate, impulsive. He liked sneaking around, risky things. The adrenaline of almost getting caught. And Natalie, she got addicted to that feeling too. Then the twist came. Xavier knew about Andre, but Andre knew nothing about Xavier. One night, Xavier saw Natalie laughing at her phone, smiling too hard, too bright. He didn't say anything immediately. He just watched, very calculated. Who got you smiling like that?" Natalie froze for half a second. Too long, and Xavier noticed that. Men like Xavier always notice. "Nobody." He smiled slowly. That wasn't a nobody smile. From that moment on, Xavier started changing, less affectionate, more controlling, as if he felt her slipping away. Meanwhile, Andre was falling deeper, fast. Too fast. "You should leave him alone," Andre told her one night. Natalie laughed nervously. "You're married too, you know." "Yeah," he smirked, "but me and you, Natalie, we're different." That sentence should have been a red flag instead. It sounded romantic. Natalie started living 2 separate lives. Mornings with Xavier, late nights with Andre. Different lies, different perfumes, different versions of herself. It became exhausting, especially carrying the twins. But she couldn't stop, because each man fed something different inside of her. Xavier felt her insecurities. Andre fed her ego. Then came the pregnancy test. Positive. Natalie stared at it long, and her vision blurred. Her first thought wasn't joy, it was panic, because the timeline was so bad, very bad. "Who is the dad?" She immediately called Xavier, then hung up before he answered, unsure what to say to him. Then called Andre, hung up again. For days she said nothing, just carried the secret alone, until the ultrasound appointment. "Congratulations," the technician smiled and said. "You're having twins." Natalie's stomach literally dropped. Twins? The room suddenly felt frozen cold, because deep down she already knew what that could mean. The pregnancy changed everything. Andre became possessive. Xavier became extremely suspicious, and Natalie, she became overly paranoid. The lies started overlapping. Andre showed up unexpectedly one night while Xavier's car was outside her apartment. Natalie nearly stopped breathing. She met Andre downstairs before he could come up. "Why are you acting weird?" he snapped. "I'm tired," she whispered. "No, you're hiding something." And he was right. Meanwhile, Xavier started checking her phone while she slept, reading messages, tracking inconsistencies. The calm businessman Natalie fell for was disappearing. One evening, everything exploded. Natalie accidentally sent Xavier a message meant for Andre. "I miss you already." It was complete silence. Then Xavier called immediately. "Who is Andre?" His voice was terrifyingly calm. Natalie couldn't speak. "Answer me." Still silence. Then Xavier laughed, not because anything was funny, but because betrayal bruised his ego. "You made me look so stupid, Natalie." Click, he hung up in her face. Natalie broke down instantly, but the real nightmare was just beginning. Andre found out 2 weeks later, not through Natalie, through Xavier, because Xavier fiercely and humiliated sent Andre every message, every photo, every hotel receipt he had. The confirmation happened outside of Natalie's apartment. 2 grown men screaming in the parking lot over a woman neither one of them truly intended to choose publicly. "You knew about me?" Andre shouted. "You were sleeping with my leftovers," Xavier snapped back. Natalie stood frozen on the balcony above them, crying so hard she couldn't breathe. The twist came when neither man was actually angry about morality. They were being angry over ownership. See, they felt Natalie was property that belonged to them individually. Then came the DNA test, and when the results confirmed each twin had different fathers, everything went quiet. Andre stopped answering calls. Xavier withdrew completely. Their fantasy of Natalie shattered the moment reality became permanent. And Natalie had never felt more alone. The woman who once had 2 men obsessed with her now sat in the hospital room by herself holding 2 newborn boys. No flowers, no late night texts, no excitement. Beautiful consequences nonetheless. Weeks later, Natalie sat in her apartment at 3 a.m. Both babies finally asleep, exhausted, emotionally stripped bare. And for the first time in years, there was no man distracting her from herself. That's when the real truth hit her. She wasn't addicted to love. She was addicted to feeling chosen. And that addiction cost her peace and dignity. And the fantasy life she thought she wanted, but those boys changed her. Because suddenly temporary validation didn't matter anymore. Reality did. And Natalie finally understood every desire has a price. And sometimes you don't realize how expensive it is until life hands you the bill. Attention can feel like love when you're starving emotionally. But validation without discipline will eventually destroy your peace. Natalie wasn't chasing men. She was chasing the feeling of being wanted, chosen, and desired. And the hunger led into situations she never stopped longing enough to question. Because temporary excitement can create permanent consequences. And when you build relationships through secrecy, lust, and emotional emptiness, eventually the fantasy collapses. And reality collects its debt. The danger isn't always desire. It's losing yourself trying to satisfy it. This is Twisted Stories, where the truth always comes out, just not how you expect.
Thank you for turning the pages on this twisted story with us. If you like this content, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any posts from us. And remember, every twisted story have a life lesson attached to it, whether good or bad. You can learn from it and also grow. See you guys next time.